Hi Capricorn, happy September. I hope you're doing well. Okay, all right, here we go. We come in with the energy of the Chariot, which I think is great. Okay, and underneath it we have the Ten of Wands. I'm just noticing that, so we're gonna leave it just because. All right, the issue for you, or the situation for this month, is the Ace of Wands, the Lover's card, and the Four of Coins. Okay. All right. Now your advice is the Nine of Wands and the Six of Wands. You notice how they're looking in different directions? Okay. Now the outbound card is the Five of Swords, so I'm not sure how well it goes, but I have an idea. Okay. The Chariot, and I think you're struggling with this. This is why I'm going to pull in this card as the energy. I think you are really struggling with this. But what I think you're struggling with is, I think you really feel like you're a man without a country, or a person without a country, right? I think you're just not sure you fit in anywhere. Which you do, right? Like I always say, and some of the signs have offense to this, but really don't take any. It's just, you know, we're all special in our own ways. We all have our own gifts. We all have our own views. We all have our own take on things, right? But recognizing that is one thing. Feeling like you're superior. We're no more, we're all unique, but we're no more special than anyone else. And I think that you may be battling with this just a little bit. I think this reading is more a battle within yourself than with an actual other person. And I think that the Ace of Wands, right, is it might be the aha that you need, right? Because the Lover's card, it can include another person. This can be a battle within a relationship, right? As to equality or something like that. But I think this is more a battle within yourself here. That I think what you're really battling is, I don't feel like I fit in here, but I know that I have to learn how to integrate myself into this environment, right? I need to find a way to be able to do this. I think that if you pull back a little bit of the masculine energy of that Lover's card and put in a little softer energy, right? I think that let's just, it's masculine and feminine is just, it's the, and I can tell you firsthand, it's the weight of energy, right? So we're either coming at something, just an example, really aggressively, or we're coming at something a little bit lighter, right? One is also a receptive energy, and the other is an active energy, right? When they're out of balance, this is what this feels like, right? And the Chariot card, it's a card of forward movement. Yes, in life we progress, right? But it's a card of ascension. It's a card of maturity. These are both cards of maturity. My worry here is that you've got the Five of Swords on the outbound, and you're coming in with the energy of the Chariot, right? So I think that you're really struggling here with this. Because this card, this Five of Cups, Five of Swords in here, is a card too of maturity. It's coming at people and into situations with, we either come at something from a receptive, right? We'll use the Lover card as the energy here. We either come at something with receptive energy, love energy, right? Open to agree to disagree, whatever, right? Or we come at something like a banshee, like this, right? Like extreme harsh energy, like my way or the highway, and my way is the only way. It's you know, there are a zillion ways to kneel and kiss the ground, honestly. Your way is not always the only way, you know, and I think that you're having a problem integrating yourself into the environment that you're in. So, with the five of swords in here, he's not coming at, this person is not coming at something with emotional discipline, with maturity, right? So you need to get a little bit of control over that and control your mind before it controls you, right? We don't always have to agree with people, but you know, we need to be able to live in, I mean, we need to be able to function together, right? It doesn't need to turn into some you know, bloody CNN special, right? Everyone's entitled to their opinion, right? If they're not hurting anyone, then what's the problem? Honestly, you know, I think that sometimes things need to be just called out for what they are, right? It's just, you don't have to agree with someone, but you do need to coexist with people. So it's to your benefit too, right? It absolutely, it's to everyone's benefit. But with this Five of Swords, it's a person coming at something with, it's just immature energy, and that's coming from a fear based. You're maybe in uncharted territory. You may be in unfamiliar territory, you know. So we can live in the same place, you know, our entire lifetime and still never feel like we fit in. So we come at things still from a fear based mentality, but with maturity, we see things, we still don't have to agree, right? But we see things from a different perspective, right? And violence and name calling and bullying and all of this, it's nonsense. It really is just, it's nonsense. And it doesn't, what does it serve? Nothing, right? So I think with the Four of Coins, you're just really having a hard time fitting in. And I think that that's what this is really. It's just, you're having a hard time fitting into your environment. So you're going to need to be making some choices, and that's what the Lover card is about, right? The Ace of Wands is about starting something new, right? It's about handling how I handle things, right? The Ace of Wands is a card of, it's young, right? But it's active and unstable, and it's young, and it's you know, it's like it's great energy to start something, but that's not what it's doing in here. Normally I would say, yeah, go for it, right? But this is like, you've got the Ace of Swords and you've got the Nine and the Six of Swords, right? And you're not in alignment here. I think that this is really the aha, that the way I'm doing stuff really isn't working. Let me do this again, right? Because you've got the Nine of Swords, which is a card of, for the love of gosh, I just cannot, it just, whatever I do, it just does not seem to be working, right? But the ninth card is a good card, though, that shows you've got stamina, right? But it can be strong energy, right? The Nine of Wands is a card too that knows when, the difference, I should say, between quitting, giving up, and knowing when something needs to be put to rest, right? There's a difference in calibration there, and there's a difference in maturity, right? So I think that, you know, we realize that we come up against resistance in life. Yes, it's a part of life, but how we handle it is another way, right? The Nine of Swords also in the advice, it's in the advice is just that, you know, be grateful for the things that you've got, but check yourself as to what you're really, what is this, what are you really, what is the point of the confrontation? Because the Six of Wands is a card of fitting into a community. It is a card of victory, but it's more an internal victory. It's I've figured out how to coexist and keep harmony at the same time, because I go into work every day and I don't seem to get along with my coworkers, or I go home and I seem to be always fighting with people, or I go to get, gas or something at the store. I'm meeting consistent resistance, because that's what'll happen too. The more that you resist something, the more you're pulling it towards you. So if you're getting in your car in the morning and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get to the end of the street and I know some jackass is going to cut me off. Well, the odds of that happening are really good, but only because you're pulling it in, right? I think there's a lot of, I feel a lot of strong energy in here. So I'm going to say this. I think we need to decrease on that strong energy and just kind of lighten it a little bit. Meditation, time alone, journaling, figuring out what it is really that's got you that wound up inside, right? Use a little logic here. Okay, we've got swords, wands. All right. There's no receptivity in here, right? You need to be open to this. Like I say, I tell you as an Aries, I can tell you this. The older you get, it gets better too. You have to coexist with people. The game plan, the ideal situation is to surround yourself with like-minded people, right? But you've got to know who you are. If everywhere that you go, you're meeting resistance, it means that you're not, like I said, there's 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Not one way that is the only way. It's not, right? And if you're in surroundings where there's no violence, right, then sometimes you need to just coexist with people. This can be in a love relationship, but I think this is just more in life in general. I think you're hitting resistance, and you're, like I said, I came in here feeling like you're a person without a country. That's a terrible feeling, right? Your advice, like I say, is the 9 of Swords. It's just to choose your battles. Choose your battles. Know when to walk away from something and know when to stay, right? Sometimes the older we get in life too, that 9 of Wands is not an easy card, but we realize that we'll do things in our capacity the best that we can do them, but then we know when they're done, and we know the difference between quitting and walking away. There's a distinct difference between that, and with that, I think you figure that out here, because the 6 of Wands also is a card of, it's a small victory, like it's a handshake with your neighbor, who has been stealing your paper for 500 years, right? That you're just gonna, clearly this person needs the paper more than you do. It's just not worth your aggravation. Sign them up for a year subscription, something like that, right? It's just, you've got to find humor in this too, because, like I say, unless there's violence or something, the difference between, what I'm talking about, our day-to-day challenges, right? And outright, like, war, like that. That's different, right? That's not in here. This is internally to you, okay? So the 5 of Wands on the outbound, though, is a little worrisome, because it's showing me, and I want to pull another card. The energy, though, this is maturity. This is what gets him moving. This is not actually, also watch for accidents in here. Watch for accidents coming up in September. This is just getting your ducks in a row so you can get the show on the road, really. That's what this is. It's just, I may be surrounded with a bunch of, it's just taking the high road sometimes. It really is just choosing your battles, and, 6 it's a card of harmony, right? It's a card of victory. It's a card of triumph. It's a card of taking the high road, right? And that's what this is. It's trying to be receptive, be logical, but balance those two, right? That's a struggle sometimes. Okay, I want to pull another card here because I don't want to leave you on the Five of Swords. Okay. I don't read reversals, but I'm only showing you this because it's we now have a Cup card, but it's showing up reversed, which means that this is a card of friendship and celebration with other people, engaging with other people. It's upside down, but it's showing up. So it's a start. We're going to take it. And I'm going to say, try to work on this. Try to work on this. Because you know what? How this card sits right now is hell on earth. This is heaven on earth. It is. Right? And sometimes that's just, like I say, this is like you're a person without a country. Right? This is, you know, engage with people and you'll find that little by little, the right people will show up when your attitude changes, right? This card too, it's hard in here because it's now, how do I remain true to myself and engage with other people, right? That's a tough one, I feel, sitting in here. I feel you're really struggling with that. But compromises, unless, like I say, it's a violent situation and someone's getting, you know, killed here, which is not the case. You're killing yourself on the inside. So flip this around. Be at least open, be receptive. Don't have people walking away because you've just cut them off, right? You want to be open to this. You'd be pleasantly surprised and life will be a lot sweeter, honestly. I think you're going to struggle with that, right? This month, and unfortunately that's what your reading is, but I think that what is happening here, honestly, is that you're wasting a great deal of energy in arguments that are wearing you down, right? They are trying on your patience. I think that self-righteousness too is at the root of this. And again, I know that if this is how you're feeling, you're not going to be open to me saying nobody's better than someone else. I don't care what your tax bracket is. I don't care how big your house is. We're not. We're all the same at the end of the day, right? It's just we all have unique gifts that you need to contribute. You have something that you're not seeing, because if you were, you'd figure out how to integrate here, right? So self-righteousness is a tough one too, you know, and it is in here. So don't hate the messenger. Knowledge is power, right? So now we can restructure this, all right? If you need a private reading, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to do that for you, okay? This I don't think for you is a major ordeal. But if it's to a degree that I'm missing and it's become violent or, you know, things like that, that's a different ball game. That's really not a good thing. I mean, nor is this, but that's a little bit more different, okay? So thank you so much. I hope I helped you in some way. Happy September.